Welcome to beautiful Marco Island, Florida. With me is Jim Powers. Jim is my father-in-law and the father of Tina Black, the owner of 3 Paul Mitchell schools, 1 in Florida and 2 in Michigan. Jim was a Depression-era child that struck in 1929 with the collapse of the stock market and saw probably the worst economic times you could ever envision in this country. Jim succeeded through it all. No college degree, no formal education, learned through the hard knocks in life how to achieve success, have ultimate leadership. He went from having a tough upbringing to being on the board for many years with the Country Music Association, having friendships with Sam Walton, Jackie Gleason. It's my privilege to introduce him. Good afternoon, Jim.
Good afternoon, Brian. Thank you for wanting to interview me. If I had to say off the top of my head how to succeed in what you're doing, regardless of sports or business or it's anything else, you have to believe in yourself. And I guess I had that. And I can never remember a time when I thought I couldn't do something. If you work at that and be happy with what you're doing, it's a way of life. You put yourself in that category and you smile a lot, it certainly makes you feel a lot better. So, but again, believe in yourself and it makes a person out of you. And people like to be around you. And I think that I tried to accomplish that my whole life. Born in January of '55, I started with this company. I was with this company for 36 years, and it started with $3 million a year. And when I left them in the early 90s, when I retired from that company, we were doing $1.2 billion worth of business. Out of that business, I opened up about $800 million worth of that business. And see what's right, even in life or whatever sports you're doing, and anything in life. If you look for things if you're doing right, you can make them great. If you're looking for things that are wrong, you might make them good. So concentrate on things that you're doing right or that they're doing right and make them great. Have the capacity to listen. You can never learn by talking. You can only learn by listening. And that I try to pass on to my children, to every individual that I speak in front of.
Let me ask you a little bit about the Country Music Association.
We had meetings around the country and out of the country, and we'd invite all of the people in the radio business and in the advertising business to our meeting. It was a way of interchanging ideas with every facet of the music business. I met, and socialized with many of the artists. Talked about, Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson, at his home, I was there a couple of times and had dinner with him and his family. They were involved with the Country Music Association because it's a nonprofit company. We wasn't making any money, but we learned more about the business, and it was very important for me to be there because of the customers that I serve.
Jim, let's switch gears a little and talk about your humble beginnings as a young lad in Detroit. You were born in 1932.
Correct.
And times in the 1930s in Detroit had to be filled with a tremendous amount of financial and emotional difficulty. What was it like growing up?
It was tough times, but everybody had tough times in those years. My mother had to send 3 of us down to live with our grandparents right outside of Paducah, Kentucky for a couple of years. We slept sometimes, most of the time, three to a bed. You put up with it, and sometimes you didn't get a good night's sleep, but sometimes you did. And food was a little scarce. If you got company, you put more water in the soup. Those were tough times back in those years, and I hope that we never have to go through that again. I quit school at 15. I went to work in factories and so forth. Every time I get laid off, I'd go get another job.
Since those early years of life really prepared you for a lot of significant events in your life, like the Korean War and your success that you've had in the business world. What was the Korean War like?
I got a letter from the president that said my friends and neighbors have selected me for the service. So they drafted me into the Army, and that was in 1952. I had no leave. I went right from basic training right overseas to Korea. Spent time on the 38th parallel, helped a lot of wounded men up and down the hills. Got a piece of shrapnel in my left leg. After that, I spent some time finding out where the bombs were located and so forth, where the fields were. And you harden for that. You're happy to get out of it, but you wouldn't have done anything not to be there. I was proud that I was there. I was proud that I was able to go to Korea.
So to have achieved that tremendous type of success from your humble, difficult upbringing, making it to the country music board, CMA, how did you do it? I mean, what's the key to having that type of success?
You have to know what's important, and you have to put things in perspective. Really doing the right thing and being true to your word, and having confidence that you can, in yourself, as well as the people that you hire, that they're going to do the right job. It's all in the questions, that you ask, and then you have to stop and listen. You can't learn anything by talking, so you ask the right questions, you get the right answers if you listen. Even if you think you know the answer, you should always listen to them anyway, because something might good come out of it.
Thank you, Jim. It's been a pleasure.
Yep. Thank you, Brian.
Okay.
Yep.